Hey everyone, it's Jason, and this is your cruise news update, and a passenger's warning others not to make this $2,000 cruise mistake. Could tariffs change your Alaskan cruise? And I want your opinion on this last one. Do you think this is some of the worst chair hogs you've ever seen? Also, make sure to stick around to the end, as I'm going to have a tip that could save you some money on your next cruise. So cruise story number one, how do you feel about chair hogs? And if you're like most passengers, you can't stand them. They get up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, they save dozens of chairs throughout the pool decks on the ship, and then many times they go back to bed, only to show up 3, 4, 5 hours later, and they can't believe that their chairs were taken by someone else. So this picture right here was from the Icon of the Seas, and this is the adults-only pool on the back of the ship. Now, what's interesting is this pool's closed. That's why the netting is over the pool. Now on the Icon of the Seas, they have these comfortable like Chase Lounge chair areas. And you see them outside the pool. So those are all taken. And then they have chairs inside the pool. And someone thought it would be a good idea to put their towels on top of the netting, creating more work for the crew members. They have to take the towels off, remove the netting, put the towels back. I mean, isn't their jobs hard enough? Why on earth would you do something like this? Now, the person that took the picture reported that the crew members actually removed the towels. They did not put them back. And good for them. They shouldn't. And that they stayed there, outside there for about 2.5 hours, and no one ever showed up. Those chairs were all available. It's unbelievable. Now, do you have a crazy chair hog story? I'm sure you have if you've been on a cruise. Let me know in the comments. So cruise story number 2, could the threat of tariffs affect your next Alaskan cruise? So Senator Dan Sullivan was being interviewed on a radio show, and he said he was going to introduce legislation that would allow cruise ships to bypass Canada, Victoria, and come right back to the United States. So if you look at any Seattle to Seattle cruise, they have to stop in Victoria. And that would wipe that out. Now, a lot of people know this as the Jones Act or the Passenger Vessel Services Act. And it requires a cruise ship and ships to visit a foreign port before coming back to the United States. Now, they did suspend this Congress during the pandemic, because the United States opened much quicker than Canada. And I know many Canadians were begging the government to open that back up so they could have that. Have those cruise ship passengers. $250 million US to that economy, about 1,200 jobs, 1.2, 1.3 million passengers. Have you ever been to Victoria? I hope this doesn't happen, because I really liked Victoria. It was actually one of my favorite ports when we went on our cruise. And if you have an opportunity to visit Bouchard Gardens, do it. It's gorgeous. I could not believe how beautiful it is. It's worth about 45-minute bus trip there and back. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. If you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and have you ever had a bad cruise where nothing goes right? Maybe you have real loud neighbors, they're smoking out on the balcony, or everyone's just slamming doors around you, waking you up in the middle of the night. So a passenger is currently on the Celebrity Reflection, and they are calling it a nightmare cruise that is a waste of $2,000, because from the start they knew they were in trouble, as they found out they were on the college spring break party cruise of 2025. Now, I reported on this a few months back, and I thought it was weird. It didn't seem to fit celebrity cruises. Felt more like a Carnival cruise thing. But obviously they went through with it. And this passenger said they've got no sleep in 2 days. Up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, people having parties next door, slamming doors all day, in and out of their doors, running down the hallways. They said taking over all the venues. It's large enough where they basically took over the whole entire cruise without having to charter out the cruise ship. Now, I don't mind groups. I really don't. 100, 200, 300 people, that's fine. But when they start closing out venues and you can't use them, I think that's unacceptable. Now, they asked, how can I avoid this in the future? And I think the biggest way you can is take the cruise ship, the date, and put in group cruise and see if anything pops up in Google. I had this happen with a celebrity cruise. It wasn't obviously the college party cruise, but I had it with another big group. It was going to be like 800 people, and I said, no way, I'm not booking that cruise. And I remember people complaining in the roll call, saying, why are all these venues closed? Have you ever been on a group cruise, and what was your experience? Or have you ever been on a spring break party cruise? Let me know in the comments. So the one tip that I wanted to give you guys is to save some money is make sure, and I'm going to reiterate this, that you're watching your cruise prices. I am seeing this all over the internet, on Facebook and other forums. People are saying they're saving $300, $400, $500 all over the place. They're saying they're repricing their cruises. They're also repricing add-ons, drink packages, Wi-Fi. It's really a good time to do that. I can tell you within the last week, I have mentioned this before, I saved about $723 on our Alaskan cruise. And then yesterday, I saved $1,100 on a Star of the Seas cruise. Huge price drop. So this is a great way to save a little money on your cruise. Are you seeing any of these price drops? Let me know in the comments. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again so much for the continued support. And until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.